So in this video we will be creating the order screen where we will be displaying all of the order items of the particular user, and also a button where the user can pay with Stripe. Okay, so all of that we'll be doing in this video. So first of all, let's go ahead and create controller to get the specific order by ID. So let's go to a controllers and order controller. Over there, let's create a function to get the order by ID. So that's what it does. So const get order by ID. Okay, so this is as usual, the within an async handler we are going to write a function which is asynchronous, which takes in the request, the response, and now within the body we are going to get the particular order by ID. Okay, so this ID will be fetched from the URL params. Okay, so for that, let's create the order. So order that is coming from the order model, so that is coming from that, and this has a property called find by ID. Okay, so this is used to basically find a particular instance, okay, by ID, and we are going to pass in the ID which we are getting from the request.params. So rec.params dot id. Okay, so this is the dynamic value which we will be inserting, and it will get based on that particular value and fetch that particular order. Okay, and on top of this we are also going to populate which particular user has created the order. So the user details, so like the name, email, and everything. So this has a property called populate. Okay, so this will get all of the order details. So we need to make sure that this within the order model, right? So we have already given this type of user. Okay, so which is referencing the user model, so we can get all of the different properties by using this populate function. So we are right now interested in getting the user, all of the user details. Then we are going to get the name and the email. Okay, so this we need to separate by a space. So name and email, just like that. So this will give us all of the user information, and now let's finally check if there is an order. So if order, then we are going to send the response of this particular variable. So res dot status, so which is going to be 200, which means everything is okay, dot json, and we are going to pass in the order. Okay, and if no order is found, then we are going to res dot status, that is 400, sorry, 404, which is not found, throw new error saying order not found. Okay, very simple. All right, so that's done. Now let's export this get order by ID, and now let's create a route for it. So not here, go to routes and order routes, and over there I'm just going to just duplicate this and going to give this a dynamic value of colon id. Remember, we have used this in our rec.params.id, so this should match with that. And we are going to make a get request this time to this get order by id. Okay, which I'm going to auto import. All right, so and also this needs to be protected, so no different user should, or no unlogged in user should be able to access this route. Okay, so that's done, and let's give it a save. And now let's move to a front end and get the particular order by id. So now let's go to the client directory, and within our source folder we have the slices, right? So we need to create a API slice for the orders. Okay, so right here, we right below this create order, we are going to create another one. So that is for to get order by ID. So let's call this get order details, and set this to builder dot query. So since we are just fetching data and not passing it any value, so and we this takes in the query, and there this takes in the particular id, okay, which will be sending from the front end. So which particular order id needs to be fetched. So for that we are going to create a function, and we are going to set the url. So this URL is going to be the orders URL. Okay, so we can just write this in a template string. So orders, this is distracting me, orders URL, and I'm going to add in slash the particular ID. Okay, so we can do this like ID, like that. Okay, and also this has another property called keep unused data for, which I also explained you in the previous video. So all of that caching will be done, and so that's done. Now let's export this before I forget. Every time I forget. So get order details, and sorry, it's use get order details query, like that, and not like this. Yeah, so now let's go ahead and create a screen to display all of our order items. So for that I am just going to paste in the JSX, so that I just don't want to waste your time in typing out all the HTML CSS. All right, so within our screens I am going to create one for the order. So order screen. Okay, and right now I'm just going to create a function. Come on, I'm just calling it order screen. Okay, so now let's mount this on our main.jsx. Okay, as usual we have been repeating this stuff for a long time, and just going to duplicate this and going to call this order. Okay, and also this takes in the dynamic value of id. Okay, so, we'll be grabbing this within our order screen using the use params hook. So giving it a dynamic value of colon id, and the element is the order screen. All right, so now let's just see if everything works. So now I'm going to slash orders slash something. We can just type in. So this will be the ID. Says that it's not found. What's the reason? Actually, it is slash order, not orders. Okay, so there we see it. So now let's go ahead and print out our JSX and just have a look at the output. Okay, so you will also find this within this JSX folder. So we have right here. Okay, so also I'll be pasting it over there. So right now within our screens and our order screen, I'm just going to replace this with our actual JSX. Okay, so this is the JSX which I have right now pasted it. So nothing much new in it. Okay, so additionally we just have this order details along with the order number, and also we are going to interpolate the order ID, and remember we also added the user who created this order. So we are also displaying the user name, email and address, and also the order status, if it is a paid or unpaid, and also if it is delivered or not delivered, like that. Okay, and these are the summary details which we also created that in our place order screen. Okay, which displays all of the different items. Okay, and the total price along with the tax and everything. Okay, and also we have a button to pay with Stripe, which will be handling this in the next video. Okay, so and also something for marked as delivered. So this is actually an admin action. We will be handling, we will only be displaying this if the user is actually an admin. So if it's not, if he's not an admin, then we are not going to show this. And yeah, everything looks good. Now let's have a look at the output if everything is fine. Yeah, there we go. So we have all of it as I explained. So we just need to right now put in some real data instead of this hard coded ones. All right, so now let's go ahead and deal with our state, and just grab it and just put it right here so that we can show in some real data. So let's go to our application, and right now I'm going to import the use get order details query so that we can get all of our order details. So import use get order details query, and that is coming from order is API slice. So right above the return statement we are going to grab that. So first of all I'm going to get the ID that we have in our URL, that is using the use params hook. So I'm going to call it const. Okay, we are getting by the value id, so we can just rename this to the order id in order to be explicit. So like that, and which is coming from the use params hook. Okay, which I'm going to auto import and just call it. So this will grab the id which is in our URL, and based on this id we are going to make a request to the backend. So now let's grab few things from our use order details query. So const first of all, the first parameter which we get is the data, okay, and we can just rename this to order like that. And then we are going to get the is loading state so that we can show a spinner, and then the error if there is any. And also we get a function to refetch. Okay, so I'll just get into this once I come to that point. Okay, so I'll just tell you what does it actually do. So refetch, okay, and that is coming from use get order details query. And right now we need to pass in the order id. Okay, so we can just pass in the order id like that. Okay, so this order id will be passed in over here and will make the particular request to the backend using that id. So that's done. And now let's go ahead and handle this. So now let's destructure few things from the order. So I'm going to call this so not going to call, so this is the actual values. So shipping address, and then the user, the is delivered flag, and then the order items. Okay, so these are all the fields in our database. So if you don't know where it is coming from, you can just have a look at your database. So order items, so that is coming from this order. All right, so now let's go ahead and use all of these values within our JSX. All right, so right now within this order number, so we are just going to pass in this particular order id. Okay, so we are actually using the order in the order id which MongoDB itself create. Okay, so that we don't have to make another id and store it. We can go ahead with this same id that MongoDB uses. So that order id is going to be our order. And then we are going to display the user details over here within our shipping details. So I am going to write within an expression, let's say user dot name. So these are the fields within the user model. Okay, and then the user dot email, and finally the address. All right, so that's done. Now let's give the status of whether it's delivered or not. So we can just replace this with is delivered. Okay, so this will give us the status if it is delivered or not. And now let's see, and we are just going to pass in all of the the details that the order has. Okay, so we are going to map through the cart items and display the order items as well as the price one by one. Okay, so we have already done this in our place order screen as well. If I just show you that, and right over here, so we can just copy this and paste it over there. Okay, just so this is coming from order this time. Okay, so not from cart items. So order dot cart items. Okay, so that is we are getting from this variable. And so we are looping through the cart items and displaying those one by one. So to display the total, actually we do not have anything within our cart state. Remember in our previous video, once we place the order, we are going to clear the cart items. Okay, so that is why we need to right now manually calculate the total. Okay, so we'll be creating a function right now, right over here at the top. So let's call this calculate total, and set this to a function which takes in the order items. Okay, and we are going to loop through this and going to calculate the total. Okay, so this is very easy. If you want, you can just try it out. So we can return the order items dot map. So for each item, okay, so not map, sorry, it's called reduce. Okay, so this is a higher order array method, so which is particularly used to calculate something like reduce. So this takes in the accumulator. So this will accumulate all the particular values and combine it to one particular value, and also takes in the particular item within our array. So and we are going to return the accumulator. So this is the first value. Okay, whatever it accumulates, then we are going to add on the item dot price, and the we are going to multiply it by the quantity. item.qty, and we also need to specify the initial value of our accumulator, so that is going to be 0. Okay, so for every item it is just going to add on this particular value, so the item price multiplied by the quantity, and then give us one single value. Okay, so that value we are returning it in the form of this calculate total. Okay, so we can right now use this function right here. So we can open our expression and say calculate total and pass on the order items like that. Okay, and also we can fix it to two decimal places like that. So right now we only need to display this button only if the user is an admin. Okay, so for that let's get in our user state and see if the user is actually an admin. Okay, so let's call this const by grabbing the user info from our user state. So that is going to take in the state, and we are going to get the user state dot user, and now let's check if the user is an admin, only then we are going to show this button. Okay, so for this I'm just going to say if the user info has a property called dot is admin, so if that particular value is true, okay, only then and also we are going to check that if the order is still not yet delivered. Okay, so for that we can use a double ampersand and not order dot is delivered. So this has a property, right? Like if it is delivered we do not want to show this the button. Okay, and then double ampersand, then only then show this particular button like that. Okay, so everything is done right now, and and also this particular value of is delivered, we want to show it in the form of a green color if it is delivered, and if it is not delivered then we want to show a red color. Okay, so for that we can give this a class name. Okay, dynamically, like saying if is delivered, if this value is true, then we are going to show a green color text. Okay, so text dash green dash 500. Okay, 500 would look good, and also going to give this font semi bold to make it bold. Okay, and if this but if the value of is delivered is false, then we are going to show this in the form of a red button. Okay, so I can just copy this and paste in here and change this to red like that. Okay, so based on that it is going to show different color text. Okay, so that would look good, and also for user experience, and yeah, everything looks good. And for some reason I actually this has to be shipping address and not user, so we do not have a property in our user. So within a shipping address we have this property of address, which we are going to show it over here. Okay, so everything looks good, and also now finally let's handle this is loading and the error. Okay, so let's go right below this and checking if there is any errors. If is error, or if it is just error, then we want to return a toast message. So toast dot error, which is going to be the error dot message. Okay, so this is the custom message which we are sending from our backend. Okay, and let's also check if the flag of is loading is true. So if is loading, then we want to return a spinner like that. Okay, so looks good everything, and now let's finally test this out if everything's working. So before that let's uncomment this out, which we actually commented out in our previous video, which actually did not even exist. So now we have created that, and now let's test it once. So I'll just add in few items to our cart. So this, and let's proceed to checkout now. So sticking with the same shipping address and selecting the payment method, and now let's finally place the order. Uh, so I guess there's some error here. So let's I actually got this error before also, so I know what is the problem. So within our order screen, I guess we need to push this user info at the top, okay, next to this use params hook. So I guess that should work. So now let's test it. Now it's giving me a different error. Can't read properties of undefined. Maybe we are accessing a data type which is not an array. So that is why we are getting this map method which is undefined. So let's have a look. Actually, this should be order items and not order.cart items, which I actually typed it wrong. So order items. So this should work, and sorry for that. So let's also add an optional chaining if this doesn't exist. So now let's test if everything is working. So yeah, there we go. So we have everything working good in place. So we also get the order number, and this is a ID which MongoDB uses to save the instance in the database. And also we see the ID over here, and also the name. For some reason we need to actually give it a little space, okay, so we'll do that. And also the email ID and shipping address, and also the order status. For some reason we are not getting it. So actually I just need to give it the value. I guess I didn't mention that. And we get all of our order summary, and also the total the user needs to pay, and we have a button to pay with Stripe. Okay, so everything right now is working fine. And also we don't see the mark as delivered button, since John Doe is not an admin. So if I just log in through my admin account and just have a look. So admin @email.com and password. So now if I go to that particular ID, it should give me the mark as delivered button. So right now you see, since I'm an admin, I have the option of marking this as delivered. Okay, so this will later change the flag for from not delivered to delivered. Okay, so that's done. Now let's fix some of these bugs that we have. So let's give some space over here. Okay, and so we are just checking for the value of is delivered. Okay, so we didn't say anything. So if it is delivered, we are just going to say delivered. Else we are just going to say not delivered, like that. Okay, so now let's have a look. So there we go, we have this not delivered, since it's not delivered. And now we have some spaces over here, so looks good. Okay, so in the next video we will be creating a profile screen. So before we implement the stripe button, so we need to also have all of the order details in our profile. So right now we do not have this profile screen yet. So we will be building this in the next video, where we'll be displaying all of the user details, and also the user can update all of these details, and also create a table to display all of the users orders that the user has created. So we'll be doing that next.